You know, one of the things about Talkaoke is you can't force people to come and sit down. You have to just use the power of attraction.
I've got to go down. My beer's downstairs, but I came in from my phone.
Oh, there's the phone. Rich?
There is a phone.
Where did you put that, Rich? Where did you put that phone?
We got it. Thank you.
Rick's got, you got the phone. Okay, come and have a seat. This is Talkaoke. We've got Peter here. Christine, you're hovering. Come back in. So it's easier now. It's easier. What's your name?
Johnny.
Johnny. We've got Peter here. We're just starting off this Talkaoke, so we don't have the way Talkaoke works. It's kind of up to you collectively, not you personally, to come up with a conversation. But we don't really have one as such yet. So, have you got anything you're thinking about? Any thoughts, comments, ideas? No? No, Peter, have you got anything?
I don't know. I was just going to ask. I'll see what.
Yeah. What are you doing here, Johnny? Maybe that's the question.
I was invited on Facebook earlier, meeting some friends here. I know some of the people who are running it. Just came to check out, see what was going on. I didn't know.
Yeah.
There'd be quite the setup in here.
Well, you know, we've come up specially. That's not part of our kit. They're just
some good puppets.
Good puppets.
I know Purvis. He makes them. They're pretty good. But yeah, I've just been. You know, we've just been in town and then.
Are you from Hereford?
I'm from Ludlow originally.
Okay.
But I did my degree here and stayed here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying the sort of hub that this place has become.
Yeah. What kind of things do they have on here? Because I'm for the day.
A friend and I had an exhibition in here about half a year ago.
Yeah.
And we did some like short film bits in there. That you know, there's lots of live music that goes on upstairs there.
Yeah.
Loads of exhibitions that go on here.
Yeah.
Some really great jewellery designers. A lot of people from HCA are involved.
Yeah. Are you a creative person?
Yeah, I'm an illustrator, but
Okay.
I make fine art pieces and help with, artistic direction and shorts.
And what is the creative scene going on in Hereford? Do you think it's a good scene?
I mean, it could be better.
Yeah. Because I mean, one of the sort of, not necessarily on Talkaoke, but one of the questions today has been, how do we actually get the creative scene? How do we improve it in Hereford? What actually do we? Hello, come take a seat. More than mind, I would very much appreciate it if you came and joined me. We've got Johnny, we've got Peter, and Mikey. What's your name?
My name's Ali.
Nevera.
Yeah.
And Wyatt.
Come and have a seat. Come and have a seat, sit down. We have got.
We need to get more good.
So this is Talkaoke, pop-up talk show. In you come. Yes, that's you, and you, and you, and you. Come and sit down around the table. This is
looks like some sort of G12
meeting. Well, it kind of is. It kind of is a G12 meeting, but the G's are you. The G's are you guys around the table. So maybe we should get another round of names again. My name's Mikey. What's your name?
Zach.
And it's Wyatt and Nevera,
Ali
and Johnny. You know, come on, join in. This is we're just at the moment we're just kind of cheering the fact. We're really talking about what the scene is in Hereford. Is there a scene in Hereford? Could Hereford? Hello, come in. Can you come? We have got Johnny and Ali and Nevera and Wyatt and Mike and Thingy. Nathan and Zach and Ryan, and we're just about so we haven't really got a subject. The whole point of Talkaoke is kind of up to you to decide what you want to talk about. What are the big subjects? What's going on around here? I'm not from around here, so I don't know. What's going on? What's that?
Where are you from?
I'm from London.
Oh, fair enough. How come you're here?
Well, I've got a phone call. Me and Rick. Well, I should say Rick. We've got Rick in the background here.
Oh, Rick.
There we go. Rick's actually attempting to illustrate the conversation. Maybe we should just go through what we've talked about so far today. Are we able to do that, Rick?
Yeah.
Come and take a seat. In this particular session, we don't really have a conversation yet. We don't. Okay, so this is more about are we addicted to Facebook? Are we being pornified by by social media, by the expectations of media. That was one subject. Let's flick through. This is like, is our reality being kind of created by television and films? Like, this is a gorilla learning how to be a gorilla by watching Jungle Book. It's a longer story to that. I don't know what this is. This is like real self and social media self, if you see what I mean. Are we actually? This is something. This is like women in the spotlight. That's what it is. Do we see enough women in positions of power on the news? This is a dancer in the palm of your hand. This is the potential of reality, of augmented reality, that you can actually have things like this going on. Not wanting to blow your mind or anything. There's one spare seat if anyone wants to come and sit down. This is like, is technology just kind of leading us, and we're just spending all of our money on consumer goods that just get bigger and bigger? It's a 155-inch TV. This is manual tool versus digital tool. What is this one? Something about Minecraft. I think we'll just leave it at that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. This is like, do we know about technology? Anyway, we've got some new faces to the table. Maybe I'll do another quick round of names. What's your name?
Fee. Caitlin.
John.
Okay. Ali, we know, yeah.
Rivera.
Yeah, and Wyatt, yeah, we know. Who's going to sit here? It's going to come and be the brave person that comes and sits here. There's got to be one person. Someone's got to come and sit here. Who's going to? You're going to do it? Come and sit down. Come on. We'll give you a round of applause. Come on, yeah. Maybe the man on the top. And anyway, so we're at Wyatt. We've got Mike and Nathan and Zach and Ryan. Okay, so what do you want to talk about? What do you want to take? Come and sit down. Okay, can we have that same round of applause again, please? What's your name?
Verity.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about? Is any of that strike a chord with you? Or are you like, what the fuck are these people talking about? What's that? Okay.
I was looking at the one about the representation of self.
Yeah.
Versus the
the media self versus real self.
Yeah. I was just thinking, how many people really, show their true self anywhere anyway?
Yeah.
Without the.
So without even social media, are people really revealing their true self? Does just Facebook or whatever make it more apparent that we're not actually revealing our true? Are you revealing your true self? Why?
I would say so. Okay. Everyone is to a degree.
Are you revealing Verity? Is this your true self we're seeing here? Okay.
I have no idea.
No, that's good. Sometimes it's good not to know. If you don't know, you don't know. What do you think? True self? Yeah. Okay. You true self?
What you see is what you say.
What you say? Ryan? Yeah. So people are. It seems like I've got true self. I feel like I've got to be consistent around everyone. Are you revealing your true self here tonight?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Do people even know
what is your true self?
Who they are to begin with?
Yeah. I don't know. Do we even know our own true self ourselves? Everyone's confidently said, I'm revealing my true self, but do we know really who we are? Very philosophical, very quickly.
On that hand,
Nice to meet you too. Are we revealing our true self here and now? That's what we're talking about now. Unlikely. Why are you saying unlikely? Grab the mic. Tell us your name.
my name's Mary.
Mary? Why do you think we're not revealing our true self? Oh, you've got a seat now. Maybe we've got a bit too heavy for some.
Because it's not something we do as a rule in this kind of situation. We hide our true feelings. We don't from it.
Mary, take a seat, but Verity's agreeing with you. Come take a seat.
Oh, I don't. I disagree.
You disagree?
No, I agree with them.
You agree? Yeah. Are we revealing our true self? Come and have a seat around the table. We've got some spare seats. Are we revealing our true self?
Yeah.
You say yes.
See, I think it's weird because on social media, you spend your lifetime working out who you are. To an extent. And there's no one that's actually like gone through their whole lifetime on Facebook. Facebook's only like what, a couple like 10 years old. So no one's actually lived a life with Facebook. They've just it's been like a part of our growing up. But not like maybe like someone that's 4. They grow up through Facebook. Maybe ask them like when they're 50.
So you think that could actually be a documentation of their whole? It could actually represent their life.
Yeah, because a lot of like the grown-ups nowadays, they haven't used Facebook to grow up, whereas we are using Facebook to grow up. So it's that difference. It's like,
and what difference does that make? Do you think? And how's that going to affect people that are kind of born with social media?
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any ideas?
A bad impact on young people.
Yeah. Why?
Because there's so many influences on social media that can negatively affect you.
Do people agree with that? Is it a bad thing, a bad impact? Don't know.
I reckon that like people judge themselves through the first impression.
Yeah.
That's what
Is that worse on social media than it is on? Is that worse on social media than it is?
Well, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a lot more confident. You're a lot more confident if you want to judge someone over like Facebook or something than in person.
Yeah. So you just go a bit more confident.
Yeah, I would say helps your confidence.
Okay. But what is the real self? Because that's what she's gone now. But that's what Mary said, that we're not revealing our true selves. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. She couldn't handle the conversation. She couldn't handle. Yeah. She knew the answers. Yeah. Come and take a seat. At the moment, we're talking about: are we revealing our true selves? Come and sit down. Come and reveal your true self on the table. And at the moment we are. There's no free drinks. There's no free drinks. But there's free thinking going on here. Free thinking.
What's this all in aid of? What's this all in aid of?
What is all what in aid of?
What's happening?
Basically, what you've got here is you've got some digital art. But I mean, what I do is not digital art. What I do is just simply conversation. So this is just a talk show where we talk about whatever you want to talk about.
So going back to what we were talking about before, because I think you also want it to reel in a bit.
Yeah.
Now, like we're quite we're always comparing ourselves. Even if we don't say we do, we subliminally compare ourselves to everyone else, the person.
Hang on a sec, Ryan, give us a final thought before you go. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, all getting brainwashed by social media.
Yeah. Is there any way out to not get brainwashed? Okay, just give it up.
No, not just give it up, like, we use it for the right reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Are we getting brainwashed? That's what Ryan's saying. Come and sit down. Yes, come and have a seat. We've got, now let me get this right. We've got Ali, we've got Navira, we've got Wyatt, we've got Verity, and... What? Zach. And Zach.
I'm returning. I'm collecting people.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
People. Well, I mean, we're here all night, so that's not a problem. Come and take a seat. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. There's some intelligent debate going on. What's your name?
Therese.
Okay, so we got we have got Verity, we've got Navira, we've got Ali, and we've got Zach over here. Maybe you're going to come and sit down, come and get involved in this. What we're talking about is, are you on Facebook, Therese?
Yes.
Oh, is it a kind of thing, is it brainwashing us? Is it affecting us in a bad way? Verity is saying that it's actually a bad thing, it's actually influencing the kids and the adults.
I'm saying that maybe I wouldn't.
Yeah. You don't want to talk? Why not?
About that.
What would you like to talk about? We can change it if you want. What would you like to talk about?
The moon.
The moon. Why? We'll come and talk about it then. Maybe later. Okay. Too hot. This conversation, I think, for some people.
About what you're doing. What is the purpose of this? Where are you getting your funding from? What is?
Well, tonight I'm getting my funding from rural media.
So is this going online or anything?
Yeah, we're going to go on there. Here's I'll give you a card. You can over here. Yeah, I'm just interested. Yeah, I mean, come and join us if you would like to. This is what we do, and it works for me. Hello, come and take a seat. This is Talkaoke. At the moment, there's a couple of subjects. There's this question about, are we really revealing our true selves, either on social media or actually in real life? And then there's also the question about, is social media actually a negative influence on our lives? A lot of the people have said it's brainwashing us. It's got a negative. They still use it, but it's got a negative impact. They say. What's your name?
My name's Sian.
Sian, we got Ali, I know it now. We got Ali, we got Navira, we got Veritine, we got Zach, and I'm Mikey. Are you on social media?
I am on social media, and I do like your donut.
Oh, thank you.
I was thinking how attractive it looked, all lit up.
That's the whole purpose of the design. I'm glad you said that. Do you think it's a negative force, social media? Do you think it brainwashes us to a certain extent?
I love social media. I really like finding out about stuff.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic, but I like reading rather than posting.
Right, okay, so you like really hearing what...
I'm really private person.
Okay.
And don't like putting myself out there.
Okay, so you don't put yourself out there, but you find out about others. We've got some new faces. We know Wyatt already, but what's your name?
I'm Sean.
And?
Oh, my name's Kato.
And?
I'm Jake.
And?
James.
Sean, stay in on this one. If you like, come on, Sean, come on. They're very. I think some of these older people are very. They can't stay and sit and focus for very long. They just say something and they just get up and go. Yeah, haven't got the powers of concentration. But anyway, did we get your name?
James.
James, yeah. Okay, so what do people think? Is social media brainwashing us? Is it helping us? Somebody said, I think there was an implication that it helps us develop our personality.
Yeah, I reckon social media is giving young people a certain image that they have to look a certain way.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, what certain way do they have to look?
Like, they have to be really muscly or have this sort of waistline.
Yeah.
They have to do this, do that.
Yeah.
But...
Is it a real pressure that people feel that?
Also, I feel like it gives young people a voice to some extent.
Yeah.
Like, because there's loads of people who use it in a good way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah? What's that?
I think that when you're on like Instagram or something and you see these people, they only show the good parts of their life.
Yeah.
They never show like the bad sides. So you just think everyone's out there having a great time.
Right.
But
So there's a kind of implication. Do you show the bad? Do people show the bad side?
Yeah, sometimes. I don't know. I feel like on social media we're just trying to reveal the best selves that exist.
But is that different from real life though?
No, in a sense. Like, we all dress up in a way that makes us feel happy. We're trying to show who we are through what we wear, what we do, how we talk. It's not just social media, it's everywhere.
Okay, you're saying it is different.
I would say people are more kind of open in person towards people, so people are more emotionally attached to a conversation when it's actually happening in front of them.
So they've got more of a connection in the real world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do people agree with that? There's more of a connection in the real world?
Most certainly.
Yeah.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's that?
Like, if you're texting someone, it can be perceived in so many ways, can't it? Some people could be joking or being sarcastic, and someone could be offended by it.
Right. Okay. So you don't necessarily get that richness of communication. You don't know if someone's
language barrier.
Come on and take a seat. Come on. Okay. Well, so I mean, okay. So we got this thing about I mean, do people agree that it can be a negative thing, and is it just about this in a way, the exaggeration of the good times makes it negative for other people? It's a bit of a contradiction, really, isn't it? Because everyone's saying, "Oh, I'm having a good time all the time," but that makes everyone else feel bad. Which is a bit weird, really, because you think it makes people feel good. Come and sit down. Come and get involved. Grab the opportunity while you can. So, at the moment we're talking about social media. What's your name again?
I'm Sean.
Sean is saying that basically because everyone is kind of just posting stuff when they're having a good time, when they're actually enjoying themselves, it gives us the impression that everyone's always having a good time all the time. So if you're not having a good time, then you feel shit, for want of a better word. So that's what we're talking about now. Does it just exaggerate that feeling, and you don't get the same sort of richness of communication that you do in real life? Like we're actually learning a lot from each other. We can tell a lot, not just about what we say, but how we're acting as well, and our faces and all that stuff that you don't get necessarily on the social media.
You get the fear of missing out a lot as well. If other people are posting stuff, you can get jealous easy or stuff like that. If they're only posting the best bits, so it's almost fake. It's not how it seems. Or
so you always feel like you're missing out in a way.
Almost.
You're comparing yourself to like what you've just seen. So you just put up.
Is there any way to overcome this fear of missing out?
Do stuff. Just go out and do stuff.
Just turn the computer off.
Yeah.
Or turn off the phone or whatever.
But then there's that bit of like just doing it rather than just documenting it.
Yeah.
Why do you have to document,
Yeah.
I think that's why sometimes this obsession of always having to put something up, you end up uploading, you feel like you have to upload crap, whereas you may look at my Facebook and like, wow, 6 months ago he was doing that, and 4 months ago he was doing that, and like I don't upload at all, so it looks like I'm leading a really interesting life. Like I don't think I've ever uploaded a picture of my dinner.
Okay. Has anyone here uploaded a picture of their dinner? No. Are we documenting too much stuff? People are uploading pictures of their dinner. Maybe not you.
I think that aspect is very over-exaggerated. I don't think anybody really... I don't know anyone that does that.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think we are a bit obsessed with documenting all the minutiae? And, we sort of feel we can't enjoy it unless we've taken a photo of it?
It can encourage other people to go out though if they're seeing all this stuff and they're seeing what's out there and they're seeing opportunities. Like my friends got in touch with me on social media today saying come down to the Koffie Pot, so that's why I'm here today. So without that, you got to look at that aspect.
So there is that good side. Otherwise, none of you would be here. So there is that stuff. But what's that?
I got here by word of mouth. I didn't look on social media.
So was it the fear of missing out that led you to come down here?
It does have its uses. Like Facebook, you've got to take from it what you can, but you've got to learn when it's actually not. You're delving too deep. It's good to find out where the next gig is. Like my band puts all of our gigs up online before we make a poster. So you can use it. It's a tool in which you've got to learn how to use it. In the way that suits you, but over excessive use just makes it a.
So it's good for promotion, but is it good for like deeper things? It's better for the more superficial things in a way. Can it go deep? Can Facebook ever go deep, or Snapchat or whatever?
You get some
or Instagram.
You get some fake deep inspirational stuff.
Yeah.
But that's
so people are posting quotes. What's that?
Love it. Some people love that stuff.
I get the feeling when you say some people.
No, I don't mean me. I really don't. I don't read the memes every day. Fucking
I have to say, I it's not about me, but I love some of those inspirational quotes. Sometimes it's good. Yeah.
It can encourage people to show who they are as well though. Like you may be so shy in person, but all over your Instagram you can show everyone who you are and make connections over that, which you never would have in person.
Right. So it's quite good for making connections and information, but then there's the dark side. The dark side, which is all about make this fear of missing out. You're feeling bad because you're not where it's at. It's maybe someone's in this amazing party, you didn't even get invited to it. That kind of thing. Hello, we've got a new face. What's your name?
Matt.
And we didn't get your name actually.
Nat.
Matt and Matt. That works, easy. So, Matt, you've only just arrived, so you don't really know what's going on. This is Talkaoke Pop-Up Talk Show. At the moment, we're talking about social media. Is it a force for good? Is it actually making us feel bad because we feel like we're missing out, or is it connecting us, allowing us all to get together in things like this, place like this? Navira, have you got final thought before you go? Are you just changing chairs, swapping chairs? I don't know if anyone's got a view on this, or is that it? Have we done social media? Do we need to move on to a new topic, or have we done it? We've kind of got that. Okay. So where do you want to take this? Where do you want to move on to? What do you want to talk about?
Dinosaurs.
What's that?
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. What do you want to say about dinosaurs?
Well, no, it's just a subject, you know.
Yeah.
You just kick it off about that.
Okay.
Do you know alligators are dinosaurs?
Any other suggestions? Not saying it. Not saying.
I've seen an alligator. I haven't.
Okay. We could extend it to reptile life in general.
Yeah. There we go.
Anyone got? Yep.
Zach wanted to talk about politics. He's really interested in it.
You want to talk about politics?
Mate, I don't know the first thing about politics.
Seriously, we can talk about absolutely anything here. It's kind of up to you. There's no rules. There's only 2 rules actually. No fighting, no singing. That's the only 2 rules. Yeah, exactly. But we have to differentiate it from karaoke, so there's no singing. Sorry about that. It has to be done.
Our delivery slightly melodic.
You can go slightly melodic, but you'll be pushing the boundaries.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. Okay. So where do we want to go? We've got reptiles. Any feelings about reptiles? Do you care about reptile life? Do you care about the alligators?
Flying.
Flying?
Flying, yeah.
Flying reptiles?
Yeah.
Or just flying?
Well, just like everything, like planes, birds. I don't know. I want to talk about flying.
Well, I mean,
planes are a great reptile.
Matt, are you flying right now?
No.
Just checking. So I don't know, because when I said, has anyone got a topic, I didn't expect just like random collective nouns just to be thrown out there. I wanted a bit more.
Can we talk about drugs?
Yeah, of course you can.
Drugs.
Yeah.
What's your view on drugs? Can you start us off?
It's not really down to me to give my view, but I mean, if pushed, I will give my view.
Alright, I want to ask Verity what Verity thinks of recreational drugs.
Okay, well, what I do in a situation like... I'm going to go to Verity, but at the same time, what I do in a situation like this is I do a technique called turning the mirror, because you've obviously got a view yourself. What's your view on recreational?
I don't like recreational drugs. I think that's emphasising the good time. I think when you said with social media, people are trying to show off. I think it makes expectations like higher and higher of how to have a good time, and I think people are becoming dependent on them.
Okay, so in a way, we're actually even connecting it with the previous conversation, which is great. Drugs are a bit like that. It's just about heightening the good time, and is it like a little bit of overuse? What's that?
Obviously the best form of like harm reduction is to just not do drugs at all, but people are still going to do them, so there's no use just being like stop doing it, just do it safely. If you're going to do it, just know what you're doing and do it
how
as
do you
safely
do
as possible.
how do you do drugs safely?
Well, you've got obviously research like dosage and aftercare, and just making sure you don't have any kind of mental like predispositions to that kind of stuff.
Okay, so just be sensible. Any other comments about recreational drugs? It was put to you for some reason.
Ask Zach what he thinks will have an opinion on the recreational drugs.
I don't know. Does Verity like recreational drugs?
Well, I mean, why just pick on Verity? Let's just ask the whole table here. What do people think of recreational drugs? What do people think? Let's go around the table. Recreational drugs?
Don't really, not my thing personally.
What's that?
Not my thing.
Not your thing?
Nah, not my thing.
I mean, okay, well, let's go.
I like ketamine.
Yeah? I mean, why?
K-hole.
Yeah? Okay, recreational drugs? Nat, have you got any view on it?
Some of them are very nice.
No, let me just turn you up.
Don't turn the bloody mic.
What's that? I didn't hear what you said.
I think that, as has been discussed around here, being responsible in your usage is very important.
Okay, so be responsible.
Sometimes,
I mean, okay, do you think they should be used or could be used? Any views on their usage apart from responsibility?
I'm using one right now.
Okay, so the alcohol is a recreational drug, says Nat.
I think drugs have good uses, but a lot of people use them incredibly idiotically. People really don't know what to be using them for.
So they're used and abused.
Yeah, there's a difference between
Why do you
using
think
and
so many
abusing.
people get it wrong when it comes to drugs?
Misinformation, also escapism, I think.
Okay. Are we using our drugs in the right way? I think is what you.
No.
No. Yeah. Ali.
Yeah.
Recreational drugs. Have you got a view on it?
I guess just cheap thrills, aren't they? And you just take from them what you.
Yeah.
Cheap thrills.
What is an expensive thrill? If that's a cheap thrill.
It's just like you just.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I get what you're
saying. Okay, we'll move on. Oh, we didn't get your name. What's your name?
Levi.
What was it?
Levi.
Levi.
It's really not.
Don't start to confuse me.
They've been getting my name wrong all night.
Yeah.
Literally calling.
Anyway, recreational drugs. Have you got a view on recreational drugs?
If you're gonna do it safely. Make sure it's not affecting anyone other than you.
Okay. Why?
People should live their lives how they want, and as long as they don't damage other people.
Right. What about
damage themselves?
That's fine.
A little bit of every now and then is all right.
Okay. Verity. I mean, the question.
Ditto. Dunno.
Okay. Yeah.
Education.
Yeah.
Key to it.
I think a lot of the like the bands, like like the Beatles and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of art is inspired by drugs, isn't it?
Okay,
so I think
you
it helps
wouldn't have the
open
Beatles
up.
without drugs?
Well, maybe not that far, but yeah, but like they were inspired by like drugs, weren't they? I think.
Okay. So the drugs can create art, good art, good music.
Yeah, a lot of skaters use drugs, and they wouldn't be able to land the tricks without them because it hurts.
Right.
Yeah, I just thought peace.
So drugs can have a lot of creative effects. I think it's fair to say. Okay. I mean, do yeah.
Has anyone got a Rizzler?
So I think that's a fair question to ask, considering the conversation. So thank you guys. We've got some spare seats at the moment. We're talking about drugs, the use and abuse of drugs. Is it a cheap thrill that we could do without? Is it actually an aid to creativity? That's what the debate is at the moment. Come and have a seat. Tell us what you think. Hello. So my name's Mikey. I'm not going to do everyone's name around the table, but basically, I don't know if you've got a view on this. Just give us your name first of all.
Hi, I'm Ruby.
And
Jasmine.
have you got a view on this about drugs? Do you think? Are you agnostic about it?
I mean, it's alright.
It's okay.
Depends.
Depends. Okay. I mean, where do people want to go with this? I mean, what about electronic drugs such as this?
Is it drugs?
Like what?
It does look like one. It does.
Obviously, I've got to tell you, I really don't.
I mean, will the drugs of the future be like this, where it's not something that you swallow, but something that you actually? Yeah, it looks kind of. Is that acting in a weird way? Were you going to say something? If you just got your arm up like that?
No, I'm just comfortable.
Okay. I mean, what do people think about drugs?
People are feeling a lot more pressure to do them if all their friends are doing them and stuff.
Right.
Sometimes you got to do them to have a good time. If everyone's doing them, you feel left out.
Okay, so those who say no feel left out. So once again, it's that fear of missing out. Let's have a final thought from you, Mike. Final thought.
What on?
Oh, well, just what are you thinking? Don't think about it too much. Just tell us what's in your mind. Hurry up.
I don't know.
Pressure's on. Too much pressure there. Too much pressure. All right.
Thank you.
Final thought, Ali?
If they say left, go right.
Okay.
It's always the better way to go.
Vote Tory.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't mean it political. Jesus.
Okay. Right. Let's get some final thoughts. It seems like everyone is leaving.
Keep it real.
Well, that's kind of what we're talking about. But the question is then, why is how?
Yeah.
How do we keep it real? Is the next question.
Be true to yourself.
Just be.
Just be. Don't worry about real or not real. Come and have a seat. This is Talkaoke Freeform Talk Show at the moment. The subject on the table is drugs. It's kind of up to you what you want to talk about. We could carry this on. Sean, have you got a final thought before you go?
Thank you for the experience.
Oh, well, thank you for the experience. So we've got some new faces. What's your name?
Andy.
And what's your name?
Helen.
And
Meg.
Meg, welcome. Come on, sit down. Come and get involved in this. At the moment we're talking about drugs. We could shift it on. We could talk about, quite often when we talk about drugs, it's always like drugs and the law, or drugs and psychedelic experience.
15-year-old. Yeah.
We got another cut. What's your name?
Jane.
And
Mia.
And
Helen.
Where are we going to go? What do people want to talk about? What do you want to say?
Talk about drugs, but I'm going to tell you that I've never even smoked, let alone tried recreational drugs. Call it fear, maybe, but I've never ever done anything like it.
Would you like to try it?
No.
I mean, not that I'm not offering or anything like that. I'm just.
I've seen too much harm. I've worked with those in addiction, and I've seen what happens when it goes very wrong.
Okay, so you've seen the once again. Earlier on, we're talking about Facebook and the dark side of social media. You know about the dark side of drugs, okay?
What are you defining as a drug?
I don't think we have defined a drug yet.
Caffeine's a drug, sugar's a drug. Are you talking about illegal drugs? What is your definition?
Well, you brought up the subject. What when you talk about recreational drugs? Have you got any particular drugs in mind?
No, I think marijuana is becoming a lot more acceptable. Yeah. And I was wondering about that mainly. I was wondering what people think of that, whether it should be legalised, whether it is just heightening a good time, or what the view is on that, why that's not allowed but cigarettes are.
Have you seen the harm of psychosis in young people who take marijuana? Well, perhaps you ought to come and spend some time with me, and then you might
Can you describe that for us a little bit? Sorry, what's the name again?
Mia.
Can you describe it, Mia? What is psychosis?
Psychosis, it's watching a young person who is held hostage by nightmares that are beyond any trauma that you could invite into your life. It completely devastates their life, not just their life, but the lives of all their loved ones and friends around them. It's not the individual that's just harmed, it's like dropping a bomb into a family or a friendship group and watching it.
And what causes psychosis?
Well, I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I can't. I'm not a psychiatrist. But
so there are dangers involved. Yeah.
Yeah, I take a completely opposite view. I think it's just down to lack of education. I mean, for example, the marijuana you're talking about, it's a lot stronger than, say, from my day, which is about 30 years ago. Right. So just use less of it. If you're going to use an absolute shitload in each spliff, you're bound to get hammered. I mean,
so you think people are actually going a bit too strong on it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all down to education. I like to think I had a good drugs education. I mean, I could take it or leave it.
Where did you get your drugs education from?
Mostly from mates of mine. But we talked about it, read about it. Learned about it before we actually did it, and got to know the pros and cons. And there's pros and cons, but there's lots of pros as well, And like you say, the lad over there said, it's legal in many parts of the USA now, and it's decriminalising it, I think, would help sort of people not progress onto harder drugs like coke and heroin.
Okay, now you're going to say something?
I'm not sure if criminalising it is the issue. I mean, it's no surprise that having too much of something is not good for you. Yeah. And it's the mental disposition to be able to take it or leave it that is a big part of anything that makes your life go wrong.
Right, so it's when people get addicted and they can't just stay away.
Can I ask, what is this discussion? What's going on
This is Talkaoke. It's a pop-up talk show where you talk about anything you want to talk about. It's kind of up to you. All subjects generated around the table. And the moment we're talking about drugs, the recreational drugs and their use. Give us a final thought before you go.
I think I'll just pop along here tonight. I had absolutely no clue what to expect. I'm going to have a little more of a wander around. I only came over to see Becky Cameron and Jenny Hallam, who I can highly recommend, by the way, and tune into the BBC Introducing show on every Saturday night on BBC Hereford, and was for great original live local unsigned music.
Are you connected with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You've got the first spontaneous round of applause. Okay, is there anyone that's not spoken? Anyone with views on this? What do you think? Have you heard? Yeah.
I heard that actually young people's use of marijuana has actually gone down lately.
And did anyone say why that was?
No.
No? Have you got a view on the legalisation, criminalisation of the substance?
I don't know, I've never used it. But
I think it's a good relaxant.
What's that?
I think it's a good relaxant if you're stressed over time, but there are issues with overuse and addiction.
Yeah. Okay. Could they be best served by legalising it or by criminalising it? I was going to think, is it Andy? Yeah.
I think if you criminalise it, people are more likely to like abuse it.
Why?
Because it's banned, and people are gonna try more to.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You also have the like, if it's decriminalised, people can give recommendations on like how much, and without it, there's not so much.
So people are happier to talk about it in a way, and explain how to use it properly rather than overuse it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Education on
Yeah.
how to, because it's an actual substance, drugs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Any views over here? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, charts online that are like marijuana compared to alcohol, and it's obviously from someone who's pro-weed who's written it, but it's like, it's like cures cancer, and then alcohol will basically kill you, so it's like, what's legal for what reasons? That's the question.
So you think that there may be some beneficial effects compared to alcohol?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any views over here?
I don't have any opinion.
You don't have an opinion about it? Yeah.
I think my kids went to a Buddhist school in Brighton, and they did yoga, meditation every day, and I think that if that was in mainstream schools, you're equipped to deal with stress. Because why do people turn to substances? Quite often it's stress.
Well, you were talking about it being marijuana being a relaxant.
Yeah, exactly. Well, meditation's a better relaxant, and it's cheaper and it's easier, and it might stop you turning to substances legal. I mean, alcohol's legal, but that's open to abuse, isn't it? So I think
that's the best
why not teach meditation and calming skills at school?
Okay. What do people think about meditation? Could that be a better relaxant than?
Yeah, because if you start learning at a young age, and then it can be a good relaxant.
Okay. Getting stoned or getting meditated? I don't know what the getting mindful.
That's cool. They did start in my school, but no one went. So it's
really,
like,
no. Why did?
Because there was like a stigma attached to it.
Because it's taught too late, and it's not mainstream. So if it's not mainstream, people don't often want to take things up.
Is it too stigmatised? What do people think?
I think it's the idea that like you have to have help from somebody else, and in a school sometimes that's frowned upon. Like you're not supposed to show weakness. Like
marijuana is acceptable.
Anyway, that's not acceptable either.
I mean, is it either or? I mean, can these things complement each other, perhaps?
What, illegal drugs and meditation?
They're illegal drugs.
What do you mean? Clarify. Why? Well, you can do it online, can't you? I mean, I think parents should step in maybe and introduce this if schools.
So parents should say, look, you're getting stressed. Why don't you try this meditation?
Try this online. It's all free.
I mean,
you can get it for free now, can't you?
I mean, hello, welcome to Talkaoke. At the moment we're talking about. We started off. I mean, what's your name again? Sorry, it's Zach. Zach, isn't it? Zach brought in the idea of drugs, recreational drugs, what people thought of them, and then we went on to this question about should marijuana be legalised. Some people say no. Some people, like Mia, deals with people that are suffering the mental health effects of overdosing on things like marijuana, probably other things as well, addiction. And then, what's your name again? Sorry,
Jane.
Jane.
Yes.
Jane was talking about because you were saying, what's your name again?
Helen.
Normally I'm much better, but I've had too many drinks now. Helen was saying, well, this marijuana is a relaxant, and basically Jane was saying, well, what about meditation? Could meditation be a kind of relaxant? That's where we are really now. You were saying it's kind of uncool, though, to do meditation.
I don't think it's uncool. I didn't say it was
It's seen by others as uncool.
In my school, it was stigmatised.
Yeah. I've tried both, and really, I think they're both the same.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, weed's pretty good, and then meditation's the same, really. I think.
Yeah.
If you're in the right mindset of actually doing meditation properly, then you can get a much bigger kick out of having a joint, but at the end of the day, I think they're both the same output on life, and even if you've got depression, anxiety, bipolar, PTSD, you're gonna get the same output of doing meditation or having a joint or having whatever else you want to.
With Medarith. with me.
It depends what situation you're in, though. It depends
and
if you're in a good mindset or a bad mindset. It depends who you're with, what family members you're with, how your situation is at home,
and
what sort of friend group you're in.
It depends if you go way overboard with what you're having, then you can get into that sort of mindset of psychosis and stuff. But if you control it and have it like a normal person should do, then you can't control addiction.
Okay, what you say? You saying you can't control addiction?
Of all those that I've looked after, they all start out with this idea that it's recreational, they're in charge, they'll do it when they want, they'll leave it when they want, they just dabble. But one day it creeps up behind them and they're taken hostage
all
by
these
it.
people, are they all addicted to marijuana?
It starts with weed, it then progresses onto other things.
Right.
Weed, you outgrow weed because you start young and then you outgrow that, so you start looking for another hit from something else, and then before you know it, most of those I cared for will say that they were literally taken hostage by their addiction.
So that it's not necessarily the weed, but that could be.
It's got absolutely nothing to do with family situation, strength of character. I've watched some of the most talented and academic and educated people that have come from wonderful family backgrounds, and I've watched those from the other extreme, and they all end up the same.
Okay. And there's a point over there you wanted to say?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think marijuana's addictive. Is that not a fact? Like, it's not addictive. It's if you get addicted to it, then it's the habit. It's not the actual drug. That's.
Yeah. Well, what do you say to Mia's? I mean, she works professionally with addicts.
Yeah.
She's concerned, I suppose, that people around the table are going to get into this cycle of addiction. I mean, what have you got a view on that? What do you think about that?
It's a lot easier to do drugs or something instead of like meditating or something where it may take like 30 minutes or something. You do drugs and that's an instant hit. You're getting that so much easier. And I think a lot of people can't be bothered to get higher pleasures like educating yourself or something. It's so much easier just to do a drug or something because it's.
Okay, so drugs kind of easier.
What is the proportion of people that end up in the situation you're talking about? And that's not to condone drugs or any of those sorts of things, but it's not one doesn't lead always to the other.
We can look it up. Has anyone got a phone? Can you find out what proportion of people habitually take marijuana, and then find out as well what proportion of those go on to become addicts? If you can do that, that'd be good facts to go into the conversation here.
I think addiction is something completely different though. So I'm addicted to cigarettes.
Right.
But I'm 19. And that's just what's happened. And I think if you have something day in, day out for years, then you get used to it. But I don't think it's an actual clinical addiction. I think if you're in the mindset of getting out of it and just go, okay, I'm going to stop this and stop it completely. But you can look at bands across the world, heavy rock bands, say Ozzy Osbourne, he's had way too much drugs, and you can see when he's been on, he's bit ahead off a bat, and then one day he just went, no, I don't feel like I need to do this anymore. So he stopped, went clean for a bit. Yeah, he could be a bit of an alcoholic and have lots of cigarettes now and then, but he's still a lot cleaner than he was. So
I think to go to rehab.
He's got money, but to be fair, you can, if you have the right mindset, you can get out of any addiction as quickly as you can.
Hang on, let me just bring Johnny. What were you saying?
I was saying, if it's Ozzy Osbourne, it's not off album sales alone that he's got money for rehab. Do you know? There must have been some sort of, whole underground scene that was mainly in A&R. And what's going on with those sort of big deals, or what happens with that sort of money.
But what are you trying to say here, Johnny? I mean, are you saying?
I'm saying that people in the rock and roll industry don't get rich just off album sales alone, do they? They're also like shifting gear and
no, they work really hard. Zach's coming. Hang on a sec, Johnny, because Zach's coming in with the facts.
I've got here that 1 in 6 people start using marijuana in their teens or try marijuana in their teens, and 25 to 50% of people who use it every day become addicted. But that is everyday use.
Okay.
So.
All right, there's the facts. Thanks for the facts. Let's give Zach a round of applause for getting those facts on the table. What's your name again?
Tom.
Tom was saying that cigarettes are addictive. Where do you stand? Do you think cigarettes should be banned?
Look, I speak from one point of view. That doesn't mean I think it all should be banned.
Yeah.
I haven't
but you're
said
just saying
that.
it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
What's the best way to deal with that danger?
Obviously it's education, but it's not working. It's been clear for now about 15 years that the education in this country is not enough to assist those who wish to indulge in recreational drug or drug activity. And by drug, as Jane has said, it can be anything from alcohol, weed, hard drugs, soft drugs, you name it, food. We're not talking about addiction comes in many guises.
Why do we get so addicted to all these things?
Comfort. It's a form of comfort. That's why. Why would you do it if something's bad for you? If it wasn't comforting.
Okay. All right.
You can educate people on everything, and you can tell them not to do this, not to do that. You can do this, you can do that. But at the end of the day, it's up to that individual to
sorry to get personal, Tom, but you said you're addicted to cigarettes. Did you know about the dangers of cigarettes when you started smoking?
Yeah, I did.
But you still started smoking?
But I still did it anyway. Because I thought, well, I'm going to die at some point, so it's going to happen. It's going to happen anyway. Yeah. Okay. Why not do it? To be honest, I don't really care when I die, as long as I have a good, decent life. Then, and I'm having it at the moment. So, to be fair, let's not stop and rock and roll.
You definitely didn't start smoking because you thought you were going to die sometime. That really wasn't the first time you put a cigarette in your mouth wasn't because you thought I'm going to die.
The point I think here that Tom's making is he knew the facts, but he still. So is it really education that we need to not get addicted?
He started smoking. He didn't believe he was ever going to be addicted to smoking. How many times have you tried to give up smoking, Tom?
I knew it was going to be a possibility. Never knew it would get this bad. But to be fair, at this point, I'm not going to stop. So
Okay. Well, let's open this up to other people. What do people think about addiction? Why do we get addicted to stuff? Is it about the facts, or is it something else? Is it comfort, as Jane is saying?
I feel like if you make something not accessible to the public, the people are more likely to try it because it's like the idea that it's banned and it's dangerous and it's exciting.
So in a way, saying it's bad actually makes it more attractive and more.
The thing is, I don't see the difference between drinking and smoking because I drink way too much, but I don't smoke. I've been to the doctor multiple times and they told me to stop drinking as heavily, but yet drinking is still one of the most advertised and popular things young people can do. So what's the difference?
Hang on a sec. Let me. What's your name, first of all?
Duncan.
Duncan, do you think drinking should be banned? Should it be?
I don't think it should be banned. I enjoy drinking, but I'm not sure if that's for the same reasons Tom enjoys smoking.
But, did you know about the dangers of drinking when you started drinking?
Well, that's the thing. My dad goes out and has a pint every couple of days, and there's nothing bad about it. At least how he seems. But if my dad was going out and smoking in a few days, then people would be sort of a bit more wary than they are at the moment. So that's what I don't get. So
okay.
Everyone has a drink around here, mainly.
Well, we are in a bar. We are.
So some people have addictive personalities, though. I drink alcohol, but I don't get pissed all the time. I have,
So what is it? What's going on?
Because everything in moderation. Well, I'll have like a couple of pints a week of HPA. I used to drink a lot more when I was younger. But after having children, you do not want a hangover. So that's when I virtually stopped drinking. No, I know you haven't. But one day you might. And smoking. How can you afford to smoke these days? It's a bloody fortune.
Anyway. So at the moment we're talking about some people have got addictive personalities. Are we I mean, are we sensitive to this? Are they just going to get addicted to whatever's out there? You know, whatever.
Yeah, everyone's got an addictive personality.
You think everyone's got addictive personality?
Yeah, everyone has, and everyone has. It's just if you have something for long enough, you're going to get addicted to it.
So
you get people. No, you do.
I just want to come to this side. I feel like I've ignored this side of the table. I'm going to come back to you in a second. What do you think addicted?
Yeah, I just think everyone's looking for something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, everyone's looking for something, and then some people are addicted to sugar. We're probably all addicted to sugar. Like,
do you think it's some people that have got addictive personalities, or are we all addicted?
I just think we're all a little bit like.
What's that?
We'll all have different addictions in our life.
So everyone's got an addiction of some kind.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what makes us human.
Okay, what are you addicted to?
Got a list. Sugar, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So are we all addicted, Sean?
I've got. It might be a bit unrelated, but I watched this documentary. It might not be very. It is factual, but it was where. You know all the soldiers, the American soldiers that went to fight in Vietnam, they all did like opiates over there.
Yeah.
And when they came back, like the levels of it, none of them were addicted when they came back, even if they did it every day. Yeah. And it's because they think it's because they associated it with that place and that time in their life. Yeah. So I think like the way we think about addiction, it's not like we don't think about it in the right way. We like. Yeah. Because the people who smoke every day, they associate it with their everyday lives.
Right. So if we were removed from that life, that everyday life, we would actually be able to shake that addiction. Although maybe there will be another addiction. So what do other people think? Are we all addicted? Have you got a point there? What's your name?
George.
George, welcome to the conversation.
Cheers.
What's your point, George?
So I don't think that everyone's got addictions because I reckon it's to do with your like willpower and if you've got a strong mind.
Yeah.
So people with a strong mind can think, oh, I'm not going to have, say, chocolate because I'm addicted to that.
Is that just something that people are born with, or can you grow a willpower?
I reckon it sort of depends really on what you want. So if you want to pack in smoking, say, and you think, I'm going to be strong enough to do it, I reckon you can.
Okay,
so I reckon it's
about strength of will, strength of mind. Yep.
It's going to be like a spectrum between the two, isn't it? Because you've got these physical predeterminations of like what you're genetically going to be able to achieve, as well as like the all the sort of morals that have been instilled in you during your formative years, or when you're younger. So it's going to be a mixture of the two. You can't. Everybody's had different situations, so you can't judge somebody based on that situation. It can just come from.
So you can't say, you're not strong enough.
It can be escapism as well,
Whereabouts? Mia, what were you saying?
No, it's all right. I'm just.
So basically, what we're trying to establish. You're the expert here. The conjecture around the table is that it can be a question of willpower, but Johnny was saying you can't actually judge someone if they haven't got that willpower to break the addiction, because we've all coming from different places, we've got different strengths. Where do you stand on this? Do some people have addictive personalities, or?
I think there is a genetic component, and also the gut is linked to the brain, and it depends on the state of your microbiome.
What's a microbiome?
It's your gut, and your vagus nerve is linked. The gut's the second brain.
So it's what's going on in your brain.
Yeah, and if you're depleted of good bacteria, probiotics, and each subsequent generation is more depleted for a variety of reasons. Yeah. Vaccination, mercury in fillings.
Can you be addicted to yogurt?
You can be addicted to anything. That's not an addictive. There are certain stuff like nicotine, caffeine that are addictive that get in your bloodstream.
Right. But you're saying it's about the gut, and
I'm saying it has a lot. People don't really understand this, but the gut is linked to the brain, and it can be linked to addictions. And if you've got depleted gut bacteria, you can actually be addicted to things like sugar.
Right.
But that's probably because you've got a depleted microbiome. And things that destroy that are smoking, vaccinations, mercury fillings, heavy metals.
I'll go to Morrison's and I'll buy 50p's worth of donuts and eat the whole thing straight away. It probably is, because I've got one filling, and that's probably what explains the whole thing.
Have you been vaccinated?
Against meningitis. That's about it.
Okay, so if I didn't have that,
I wouldn't have this addiction.
So how does what's your name?
I'm Danny.
What's it, Dan?
Danny, yeah.
How does Dan replete his microbiome? Has anyone got
Probiotics. Probiotics. Fermented. You can drink kombucha, fermented products. You can take probiotics.
Okay.
It's mildly alcoholic, but it's fermented stuff.
Yeah.
What you need to do is put more good bacteria into your microbiome.
Okay, so drink more fermented stuff. That's how we get rid of addiction. What do people think on this side? Any thoughts? Any views? Would you drink some fermented what?
Fermented. It's called probiotic, which means for life in Latin.
Yeah.
Most people need good bacteria because it stops you getting food poisoning, all sorts of stuff. Each subsequent generation has got a more depleted microbiome, which is linked to addictions, cravings, not being able to fight off diseases.
Right.
But you can take probiotics or you can take fermented foods, and that can even change people that suffer from anxiety and depression. Quite often it's linked to the microbiome, but your doctor won't tell you that because they just give you chemical drugs. Talking about drugs, your doctor's the biggest drug dealer you can go to.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Speaking on doctor drugs, I think we need to be educated in the school system on natural drugs in the environment rather than prescription drugs by the doctors, because I think they're just pumping children full of these drugs these days.
What sort of drugs are they pumping children full of?
Oh, there's I don't know.
There's a speed. You know that. Like people who are diagnosed too early with ADHD in America. Like they get these legal forms of speed, which these pharmaceutical companies are selling to the doctors to just to control the populace because they're like thinking outside the box in the first place.
So do people agree with this idea that the doctors are actually the biggest drug dealers of all?
Well, actually. To be fair, like they are trying to just help us, aren't they? They're
So
like
how
giving
come
us.
they've got it so wrong? If they're professionals, they
Well, they haven't.
Brainwashed by
No,
Yes,
stop.
they are.
No, stop.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Hang on, let's have Tom's opinion.
Are you a doctor?
No. But
No, exactly. So,
Tom, can you just speak into the mic? I can't hear all these different people shouting.
Okay. Right, so basically, these guys aren't doctors. They're not giving drugs to anyone. The doctors are giving drugs to people that they go, actually, okay, you need something to help you. I'm going to give you something to help you. You can take it. You don't have to take it if you don't want to.
So
they're not giving it to you and going, you have to take this every day, every 3 hours.
So you think the doctors are the doctors acting in good faith? What do people think of doctors? Are they just drug dealers? Are they doing it? I don't think
So I've taken serotonin sertraline for a year. So I took 100 ml for it was 2 years because my brain produced a lack of serotonin and I was the classic depressed teen for a bit. Stop. Because I've smoked weed once with him properly, and I thought I was inside my own body. I don't know what. So I took. So I was the classic depressed teen thing. I thought it was edgy and cool. So I took serotonin sertraline for a year, 2 years, and a couple of months ago I was just discharged from it.
Do you think it helped you?
Yeah, it did at the time, and then. Now my brain has worked out I don't need that, and I worked it out where I can keep myself happy, and I've learnt the skills from both someone helping me weekly or monthly, and also with the backup of the drug at the same time. And
what do you think about people saying, "Oh, doctors, they're drug dealers"? Do you agree with that? Do you think they're trying to push drugs on you?
I completely disagree. You've seen how tight the council are with potholes. They don't want to pay for anything. They don't want to pay for drugs for people. They would rather. Oh yeah.
Are we allowed to swear on this?
I think so. There's no choice.
Well, I think that's all bullshit. To be fair.
Okay. What about everyone's entitled to their point of view? What do people think about doctors? Are doctors there to give us a final thought, Tom, before you go?
Legalise weed, have a good time, meditate if you want, rock and roll.
Okay. What do people think about doctors? Do they share this scepticism about doctors? Are they doing it because they're in the pay of the drug companies? Have they got good intentions?
I mean, I used to work in a doctor's surgery, and some of them, even though you didn't want to tell, like be able to tell that some of them were on some sort of payroll for those sort of drug companies, some of them would be like, more, you could see that they'd be more willing to prescribe something that isn't necessarily the best way to go about it.
Right. So you think they are influenced quite a lot by drug companies?
Like not all of them. Not all of them.
Some of them.
So you can't really make a generalisation.
Yeah, okay, so maybe some of them are. What do people think about? We've moved from talking about, I guess, recreational drugs to legit pharmaceutical drugs.
Who says they're legit?
Well,
who says they're legit? That's your judgment, isn't it? They're not legit. They're not legit.
Okay.
Things that work have been used for thousands of years, like Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese herbal medicine, acupuncture. Why isn't that on the NHS? That's far more effective than all the chemical drugs that doctors give you. They might be well-meaning, but they have been mistrained, and they have serious side effects. They're all breaking the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. They're giving you stuff with serious side effects, including stuff people are given for depression, and the side effects include heightened risk of suicide. What?
Okay. Okay. So we're talking. There's a few points.
This as well, and he's got some very good points of view.
Is this about addiction?
Well, no, we sort of moved on a little bit from addiction. We're sort of give us a final thought before you go. Have you got a final thought?
It was a good section.
Have you got? Okay. So where do you stand on doctors? Are they drug pushers? Are they well-meaning?
I think it's the drug companies. I was just thinking it's probably the drug companies that tell them it's good, and then
they believe
the doctors feel that they're doing a good job.
Okay, so you're putting the thing. Okay, so I'm just going to bring you up to speed. We were talking about. This is. I should say that Rick's visual. Maybe this is a good moment to actually. Maybe this is a good moment to actually bring Rick into this. So Rick's actually illustrating this conversation as we go on, and this is the latest one. This is.
Is that him at Giza?
That is the pyramid of Giza, but in this case, I believe there are 2 mounds of sugar there, aren't they? We're talking about sugar addiction and what it does to you. Is now the time to flick through? Let's just flick through what we've got, because we've not really been paying attention to this, mostly because people have been sitting in the way. So can we just flick through? So what is this one? This is about helping people with a depression or addiction. This is, I suppose, drugs and art. I suppose, is it? Who's the guy with the bow tie? Is that someone I should?
No, that's Eddie from Bottom, isn't it? Ed Edmund, yeah.
Oh right, okay, yeah, right, okay. This is why do we have? This is right at the very beginning. We started off talking about, in a way, an addiction to social media. Why do we have to document everything when we go to a concert? Because
that's the way we've grown up.
Anyway, so that's where we are now. But right now, we're talking about pharmaceuticals and addiction and drug companies. Do we think that they have got our best interests at heart? It seems like, yeah.
Like
you want to at least defend the doctors, don't you?
I do as well, because my doctor was constantly like, "Oh, you don't need it anymore. We're going to try and take it away from you as quick as possible because it's costing the NHS." It's at the time, no, because I didn't think I was in the right situation. And 6 months later, after I went away and had to think about it, I thought, "Oh yeah, lots, yeah."
Hang on a second, he's got the mic, so I'll come to you in a second, Mia.
I've gone blank.
Yeah, anyway, so you're saying, basically you're saying that they did help you.
They did help me, and then they left it up to my choice what I wanted to do, and I made the choice that part of me knew it was bad for me and it wasn't good for me.
Right.
Because that's what my mind was thinking, so I took myself away from it.
Okay. So you like shaping up to leave, but give us a final thought, as you would have picked up by now, is the convention here.
I just think the pharmaceutical companies are so big now, they're like too big and all they want is profit, so it's in their interest for you to be ill, which is strange, and so, there's like but the more ill people are, the better it is for them, the more profit they can make. So it's kind of like.
So it's kind of So
something going on there.
Good, is basically what you're saying. Okay, pharmaceutical companies. Final thought.
I just think we should go to the more natural way.
Yeah.
Whenever I get a cold or you know starts to have a stuffy nose, I just take hot lemon and honey and then I'm fine.
Okay.
No drugs needed.
Okay, so we don't need drugs.
Yeah, no, not too keen on that. To be fair, just like I mean,
final thought.
It does lead to pretty weirdness stuff. You know, like
honey and lemon.
No, I mean like that's great for a cough, but I mean if you got cancer per se, like it's not going to do.
So sometimes
but I'm just saying, you know, like
for natural treatments for cancer, and it's not necessarily the most beneficial.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Or like flu or
let's get a final thought from you.
I don't know. Has it been proven? Like, have the natural drugs been proven to help?
Okay. How would you prove it?
Yeah. In labs and things, but I know they're kind of.
Has it? Come and sit down. If you're going to stay involved in the conversation, sit down.
Because I'm addicted to alcohol.
Okay, yeah. All right, sit down, make your point, and then go and get a drink.
To answer that question, surely that if there was this thing that was found in this medieval text that I read about that cures SARS. It's like this, and it's just like made out of garlic and something else.
Yeah.
But but it cures SARS. It like destroys SARS. It's garlic something and something.
Okay, so sometimes those natural remedies can be proven to have a cure. Okay, we've got a lot of free seats now, so let's get some people around the table. Maybe we need to refresh this conversation, move it on. Or maybe, I don't know where to, it's kind of up to you. We've got a lot of free seats, and I feel kind of like...
Are we still talking about drugs, though?
What's that?
Are we still talking about drugs?
Jane, it's up to you. Talk about whatever you want.
Pick a topic and we'll go all down on that topic.
They're on my keys here, and they're down there for a reason.
They were out here.
I'll put them...
Politics.
No, politics is...
Religion. What?
Oh, religion, no.
You
let's
choose
not
a
go
topic.
religion.
Okay. What about these lingerers, these people? Come and sit down around the table. Come and sit down. Come on. I've got to do this, I've got to do that. You've got to come and sit down on the table. Come on. Down you come. Come and have a seat.
It's got different religion.
Okay, you want to talk about religion. Okay, what do you want to say though? Have you got anything to say?
Well, no one likes it, to be fair. Let's be honest. No, to be fair, I mean, like, I just think it's led to most of the bad things in the world, and it's not needed in today's society.
Most wars are from...
Well, exactly, like most wars are from religion.
Okay.
Like, I'm a proud atheist.
What's your name?
Will.
Will's saying that religion is generally a bad thing because it leads to a lot of wars. Other people, have they got a view on this? Religion? Just come and sit down. What's all this hovering? Come and well, Nat, why don't you lead by example and come and sit down as well? Have you got a view on religion? Does it lead to wars? Let's give this
1 minute, alright?
James.
Okay, all right. Yeah, please do. Come and sit down. Come and sit down. I feel like there's too many people standing around hovering, and it's making me feel nervous when you can just come and sit down. This table has been electrically tested. It has been electrically tested and it's safe. That's my glass. I've finished with it. It's empty. We got some new faces. What's your name?
Noah.
Was it?
Noah.
And
Jimmer.
And we've got Dan and Will and Jane and Mia.
And what do you want to drink?
I'll have a lager. Fantastic. Anything. The blandest, fizziest one you've got. And what's your name?
Katie.
At the moment we're talking about religion. Now, Will.
Oh no.
I think religion can be used to justify the vilification of women.
Right, okay. Can you explain that a bit more?
Well, because in some religions use religion as a justification in treating women
What
as
do you mean by
inferior.
vilification?
Do you not know what that means?
No.
Vilification. Condemning abuse, considering them inferior and not as,
Okay.
I mean, in other cultures, it can be vilification of males. So,
What religion does that?
for instance, an island off Indonesia, it's highly
males vilified there?
They are, and the women are the leaders in that, and it's completely
Is that down to religion, Will?
What? No. Okay.
So someone needs to get on the phone and research this. What about this island in Indonesia where males are vilified, according to Will? Come and sit down.
No, I'm not saying that.
What do you think about this whole religion thing? So far, religion. We're talking about women. Basically, what Jane is saying is that religion can lead, not always, but can lead to the vilification of women. And Will has added, on an island in Indonesia, it's a vilification of men.
No, it's not. I'm not saying it's a vilification.
I think often the religions that are known to put women down, it's more a cultural thing. I think more from where they're from.
Yeah.
So like,
can you give us an example?
Okay, Islam.
Yeah.
In Arabia, I'm pretty sure they would have been putting women down way before Muhammad ever came about.
Right. So you don't think it's actually about the religion? It's more
I think
a cultural thing.
It's a cultural thing that got written into the religion.
Okay.
And has stayed because religious dogma is eternal.
Would you say that about all Muslims, or is it you just?
No, that's just an example.
Yeah.
It's an example.
Yeah.
I was raised Muslim.
Yeah.
And I was never really taught to treat women differently.
Yeah.
They were the same.
Yeah.
There would be a separation between men and women for afternoon prayer when I went to mosque, but there'd never be a separation between them in general.
Yeah, okay.
It would just be everyone's the same.
What do you think about this idea that Zach's putting in about it being a cultural thing?
It's definitely a cultural thing.
Yeah.
It just depends on the country.
Right.
So different countries will act differently depending on where they're from.
And is that true for all religions? Is that is the vilification of women? Is it more of a cultural thing than the religious thing?
It's always a cultural or historical thing.
Yeah. Okay. It's back down to history.
I agree with that. I grew up in an Irish background. My family are Irish, and I would say traditionally men were very much in charge, and women had to show due deference to the men in the family.
Was that down to the religion?
No, I think that's purely a cultural thing, and I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Okay.
I don't think that had anything to do with religion at all.
And apart from this island in Indonesia, are there any examples of where?
I think we all need to go.
Are there any examples? I mean, you say it's a cultural thing, but is there anywhere where women are kind of treated in a more respectful and fair way, or is it the same everywhere you go?
I'd say it's an improvement over the years throughout history.
What about paganism? Men and women were treated equally in the pagan religion. Yes, they were. And goddesses were worshipped, and that was thousands of years ago. So that's not a recent thing, is it?
Okay. Johnny, you've just leant on the light switch, so we've lost the light. So just press the green button. Yeah. That's good. Perfect. Okay. So is it a cultural thing? Is it all around the world?
You've also got Amazonian women, which is like the opposite, where they are all empowered and men are completely worthless.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the Amazon. So I mean, why are there so many countries in the world where women are not treated equally? Where there's
May I ask something? May I ask all these young people around here, because I, as an observer who's older and a mother of young people like you, my observation is that you do treat each other much better. You do. The young women of your generation are treated very much as your equals. I think, if I'm speaking to the men here.
Was it not the case when you?
No, it certainly was not. And for me, it's wonderful to see, because I was championing women's rights back in the day, and it's wonderful to see now that young women, I can see on an everyday level, are treated as the same as young men. Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, do you feel like that you've actually done a job and you've made?
I think Jane and I, and women of my generation and all those of our generation, have made life so much better for women of today, and we work damn hard to do that for them.
What do people think about that? Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, what about the men around the table? Do you think that do you think that we've moved on? Have we progressed?
I think progression happens, but it happens slowly.
Yeah.
Cultural progression and what is considered normal by society, or right or wrong, definitely is progressing as time goes on. But that doesn't mean there aren't going to be examples of people who are completely regressive.
Okay, so there's progress, but there's also regress.
Guys, a question. Can I ask all of the guys a question? Where do you believe you have learnt your feelings about how you should respect women or treat women, or you're from your mother?
Yeah. Does it come from mum and dad, or does it come from friends, or from?
It comes from peers. It comes from your family as well.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends how your family are. Like my mum treated me to treat everyone the same, and so did my dad. There was never like my dad was like, oh, men have more rights than women, or women have more rights than men. It was always treated completely equally.
Okay.
And so it was the same in school as well. There was, other pupils that thought different, but teachers were always exactly the same, yeah. And
okay, so it's actually come from parents, from friends, and from school as well.
A mix of everything, really.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've been friends with girls for longer than I've been friends with boys, but I've always thought of everyone just as the same.
Yeah.
No one's really different.
Yeah. So is it a case of job done then for? No.
I'd say history has shown itself to go in cycles, and I think throughout history there have been periods of complete, liberalism, and it goes, exceedingly more far right. I think in some aspects nowadays you can start to see all the telltale signs of that happening.
So you're worried that there's some kind of thank you.
I would say without the influence, then people treat each other very equally. I would say as young people, I'd say it's more of an influential thing where you treat other people differently. I think it's become less about feminism and more about egalitarianism of treating everybody the same, and different cultures and different beliefs. And
so it's more of this idea that everyone can be different but equal. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you're worried as well, Will, that there's a cycle going on, and we're gonna go. Yeah.
Do you think that over the past 100 years, overall men have treated women very badly in certain situations? Overall. Yeah. Do you think it will, like what Will was saying, swing the other way?
Yeah.
So, feminism becomes the main.
Yeah. Could it go the other way?
Do you think that'll do you think it'll ever be equal, or will it constantly be like swinging? So
will the pendulum
males
swing?
Yeah, exactly. Do you think it'll ever just settle in the middle and everyone can live in harmony?
If that does happen, would it kind of be just kind of fairness, really, because of the fact that men have had it on top?
But can I just say as well, like a lot of people don't actually understand, but actually women abuse men just as men abuse women. And the thing is as well is I think actually men need support sometimes more than women.
What kind of support do you think then?
I think actually men need to understand that emotions are okay, and actually if they're being emotionally manipulative, they're being put down, or they're having any kind of feelings like that they actually deserve support. And actually we should we shame men if they abuse women. Like my dad, I will quite openly admit, was quite an abusive person, and he was shamed so much. But women
did he not know how to deal with that shame?
But women don't get shunned, they don't get shamed. They're like, oh, you're just standing up for yourself. No. Abuse is abuse, end of. It doesn't matter whether it's male or female. It does not matter. It's the same with sexual abuse or sexual assault. Actually, I kind of think that it should be put in policy that men can be raped as well. It should be. And I make this point very clear for the fact that actually
I just want to pick up on this point that you made, that you're suggesting that men don't necessarily have the emotional tools to deal with some of these pressures, that maybe women are better equipped to
try. We do not try and help men that have been emotionally abused. We do not.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's just try and keep this. What do people think about this? What's your name? Sorry.
Carrie.
Carrie or Kerry? Carrie. What Carrie's made about that. That are men actually able to Are we actually looking after men that have been abused or that have got emotional problems? In the same way, maybe we're thinking about women, but are we thinking about men as well? Do men have the tools to deal with this?
I think for your generation, you've all got so much better. I don't know if I'm right in that's my belief. Yeah. I certainly think that things have improved for young men and men in general, and I think everybody's attitude towards males' emotions and vulnerabilities is improving. Whether or not I believe they are receiving enough support, that's another matter altogether.
Okay, so you think they could do with
Kerry.
a bit more?
Yeah, I agree with Kerry.
I learnt the other day as well that most suicides are young males as well in the UK.
So, I mean, have you got any sort of theory about why that might be?
For what we were talking about, how being told to man up and suppress emotion and things like that, and then that prevents people reaching out for support.
That's still happening. Is that still happening in your generation?
Who tells you to man up? Is it other men? Who is it?
Yeah.
Who is it?
It's not like someone tells you, it's just sort of ingrained in you, in the way people act around you. Yeah. You never see your dad cry.
It's cultural and historical
as well.
It's one of those things as well.
Okay, let's bring some other people in on the table.
I burnt myself on a welder the other day, and I just got told to man up.
Yeah. Who said that?
By a woman. No, it wasn't by Becky actually. It should have been, but by a woman actually, and she's my stepsister, and her boyfriend. Yeah. So
okay,
I can understand it, but it's not so much the thing of manning up. It's just about.
What does that even mean?
No, it's not. No, that's what. Yeah, I don't think the term should be just man up. It should just be. I don't get over it or just.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that men are expected to kind of suppress and get over their emotions.
So are women.
Okay.
Also those.
One at a time.
Can I just say that this is a prime example of the support women get to what support women get. If a woman is abused in her household, she has women's aid. She has a safe place that she can go to for her children. What happens in the situation where a man is trying to look after his children? There is no safe place for him to go. And as well, most of these abusive mothers get to keep their kids purely for the fact they're their mother. No, actually, being a parent is about having equal responsibility. And I must say as well, I feel so sorry for the men that get put down every single day. I mean,
does that happen a lot, do you think? Yeah. And what is the nature of
My friend wrote a really interesting book actually, and the amount that men get abused is 70% out of 100 that they get abused by their girlfriends. And it's not always necessary as a few little words. There's kicking, there's slapping, there's punching, there's biting. Right. And women fight dirty, and it's unacceptable.
Right, okay. I was...
To fight. It's unacceptable for anyone to commit assault, men or women, isn't it? I agree. I'm agreeing with you. There should be support for men. Yeah. But that doesn't mean women aren't getting abused as well. And
Yeah. I mean, okay. So let's spread this out to some other voices here as well. So I mean, there's a few things here. There's the question of abuse in our world, in our society, but be it men or women, but there's also this question of men, and the point that Wyatt made about men being far more likely to commit suicide. Can they do? I mean, it's up to you. Where do you want to take this? Do you want to talk about abuse? Do you want to talk about?
I think mental health is severely underfunded. Men, women, young people. Yeah. My daughter's experienced going to the local mental health services, and they were really unhelpful.
So
and that's somebody that's been. Actually. Mental health at large is really, really, really underfunded for everybody, not just men, women, young people.
Okay. There's a really interesting podcast that's recently been made by BBC One. It has 4 young people from Herefordshire, because Worcester and Herefordshire were given 2 topics. Worcestershire were given Worcestershire was given 1 subject, and Hereford was given mental health. They had 4 young people, 2 men and 2 boys, and 2 professionals doing the podcast. It's really interesting, and I was part of them.
What was the sort of outcome of that?
The outcome outcome is about raising awareness in young people and how actually about showing signs, but not in a like generic way. Oh, I spot this or I always spot that. But just saying that, you know, if you think or you can't talk to a friend or you find that they aren't able to communicate as well, that just maybe actually like learning about it or just kind of trying to approach it in different ways.
Communicating and talking.
Yeah.
Okay, what about other people think about mental health? Is it that kind of, in a way, the elephant in the room that we're not dealing with this problem?
The government's not dealing with it. The simple fact is the government aren't funding it.
Okay.
Overfunding the NHS. It's brilliant, isn't it? Let's keep on voting Tory.
I think mental health is something that isn't so simple as it can just be treated by throwing money at it, though. It's a very complicated and nuanced subject. So.
I mean, what do you say? I mean, what else is it about apart from? I mean,
I don't have the answer.
That we need to fund it more, but what else?
It definitely needs more funding, but I mean, I don't know what the answer is to solve mental health as a problem.
About having a conversation and understanding.
It's more difficult than just breaking your arm. It's not. It's not like there's just a fix for it like that.
Yeah.
Even you can throw as many drugs at someone as you want, but it won't.
Yeah. Jane. Okay.
As someone that was born in the 60s and grew up in the 70s and 80s, I would like to say and I've got 2 kids, young people today have far more pressures and things that can drive them to have social media, for example. You could only get bullied in person when we were growing up, but now there's cyberbullying, there's how you present yourself on Facebook and all different medias, and you've got your phones all the time, people can text you, people can bully you, and there's more pressure at school with exam pressures and stuff. So I think there's a much greater need, and then there's more, people have more mental health, young people, and there's statistics to prove it, and I'm involved in a charity that counts as young people. So really, it's society in general. It's not just there's more. It's the way society is now.
Yeah, let's get final thought from this one.
Yeah, go on.
What are my thoughts on that? I need some fresh air.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah.
No, I would just like to say that I think most young people are actually ashamed of their mental health, and actually.
What do you mean ashamed?
Well, no. It's not even the stigmatization of it. Can't word. Do you really want to be saying to your mum, "I want to kill myself"? No, you don't want to be saying that.
So people they keep it inside, is that what you're saying?
And social media is the number one killer. The number one killer. Because when we're not attacked outside in the open, like you said, we're attacked inside, but it's far more brutal because we can be anonymous with it.
Right. Okay, so actually there's social media. We actually started this whole session talking about social media, but now we were trying to work out if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but in this case, it's definitely very bad for the mental health. I think
it's not a good or a bad thing. It's a microphone. It's a way to literally have a conversation with someone, communicate with someone wherever they are in the world.
But I mean,
it can be good and it can be bad.
What about this question about the pressure that Jane mentioned, that now young people have got a lot more pressure because of...
There's definitely a lot of pressure. I can't say like, oh, it's worse now than it used to be.
Also, though, even though there might be more pressure, there's like more platforms for escapism. So whether that be through like media, like things like music or film or television, and there's such a vast amount as well, and the internet and social media. So there's other platforms for like people to escape from things as well.
So you've got social pressure and then escape. Yeah.
Even though that platform can be used to escape, you go on Instagram and you can type in anorexia. You can type in these really triggering things, and people are using it. There's a website I think called ProAna that's been really brought up recently, purely for the fact that yes, we can use it totally as an escapism and totally to develop ourselves in a whole new world and take us away from our dark reality. But at the same time, we're being sucked into an even darker reality.
Where are we escaping to, I think is a good way to put it.
I'd say it's not what we're escaping to, it's what we're escaping from.
Yeah.
And I think societies have shown when people have got less direction in life, their mental ability is diminished.
Yeah. Hang on, sorry. We'll finish his point.
I mean, I just think, you know, today's pressures are more about finding a job than views on people's mental health.
Okay, so you think it's more about the economic side that's causing the
It's not just economic. I mean, I don't think, you know, money has anything to do with it.
So what is it? Why do you need a job if it's not?
So there was, I think it was Marx that started.
Give us a final thought before you go. Sit down for a second. Let Will finish the point.
I think it was Marx that was saying you don't want to be a cog in the machine. You want to be making a chair, and you want to be known for making your chairs, not just, you know, a piece of wood.
So it's about your identity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get some final thought.
Well, my mum has worked for Mind, I don't know if you've heard of it, mental health in Hereford for 20 years.
Yeah.
And overall, well, she tells me on the regular that Mind needs to be fundraised more, and people with mental health need to be like, you know, it needs to be more out there. Everyone needs to know about it, and it needs to be a bigger awareness about mental health, because it's a big issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my final point.
Be around this table, there's a lot of concern about it. Final thought?
I completely agree. I don't think mental health is funded enough.
I mean, do you agree with what Zach's saying? It's not just about funding, but it's about...
It's the outlook on it.
Yeah.
It's nothing to be ashamed of at all, no.
Yeah, okay.
No.
My final thought.
Yeah.
The only advice I can actually give, and it's proper advice. Have a cuddle once in a while. Have a hug. Like, love yourself, because that's actually, whether it be you have a chocolate, whether it be you go for a run, or whether it be you just hug your mum or your brother. Just be nice to yourself.
Okay. Final thought. Will, are you off as well?
Yeah, I'm off. I'll see you guys later. I'm just going to go for another drink.
All right, final thought?
I'll be joining in with the drink.
Okay. Final thought?
Don't be ashamed of mental health. Don't be ashamed of yourself.
Okay, don't be ashamed. Okay, we're going to keep this going. So stay if you want to. It's up to you. This is all voluntary.
Subject now.
If you want to.
It's meant to be religion, but it morphed into...
Well, that's the great thing about Talkaoke. It's kind of up to you where you want to take it. You can take it in any direction you want to. We've got some new faces to the table, so maybe it's time to come and have a seat around the table and chat. This is Talkaoke. We've kind of warmed it up a little bit with mental health, drugs, social media, Facebook, everything conversation. Let's just get some names. My name's Mikey. What's your name?
Georgia.
And
Amber.
And Jane.
She's my daughter.
Okay. Congratulations.
Jane, you know my name. Mia.
And
Nat.
Rich, welcome. My name's Mikey. Come and sit down. Come and get involved in this. Come on, we'll give you a round of applause. Okay, what's your name?
Susie.
Susie, welcome. So Jane just asked, do we have to talk about...
Kev, come sit down.
Rich, I need this in my life.
Come on.
I just want to point out that participation in Talkaoke is entirely voluntary. I don't want to force anyone. You can come and go as you want. My role in the middle is simply to try and make sense of it all and pass the microphone around. So we've got Kev. We know it's Kev. What do we want to talk about? Where do we want to go with this conversation?
I want to, having just sat around and been part of that conversation, do you think that young people are much more open about their feelings and desires than other people? Where I definitely do.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's just a question, really.
What do people think? Are young people more open about their feelings and desires than previous generations? What's that?
I'd say probably, yeah. I think there's a culture, our generation are a lot more open.
Where does this come from?
I'm not sure. I just feel like we're all a lot more accepting on the whole as a generation.
Can you teach the older people how to be more open and...
Yeah, I think we've learned it from our sort of parents.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say.
If that's the case, how come you're more open and more honest and more straightforward than the earlier generation?
I think we have a lot of role models that are quite encouraging in terms of Yeah, so that helps. That helps us.
Rich?
There is a common claim among the younger generation that they're more accepting, but they're much quicker to label.
You think?
That's mine. Apparently, the sort of cultural definition now of acceptance is once something is labelled, so things are becoming granular in their labelling. So, for example, LGBTQ and then cis and all of those sort of things. It's about so there's an acceptance as long as it's labelled.
Okay. What do people think about that? Is that the case? We're more accepting of more difference, but we need to label that difference. The younger people, especially, is that true? What do people think on this side of the table?
I think if I compare being a young person with what I observe in young people today, and this is not a broad brush statement, this is just in certain examples, I think the younger generation are sometimes too quick to identify themselves with a label, and
so
then
they're
self-labeling or whatever, and then perhaps because of that they're put into a box and may suffer from all sorts of abuses or prejudices or things like that.
Okay.
In our day, we would have been sort of told to pull our socks up or pull ourselves together.
Going back to the man up.
Exactly.
A woman up in the case of women.
Told to woman up.
Yeah.
You don't.
Anyway, we've done that subject, so maybe we'll just we can go back to it.
But bloody hell, I sat down at that point and it went off on a tangent. But I'm not being funny. Like, we're not. The whole conversation about 50% women and could it go the other way and could it be gender biased the other way? It's like, do people really think that women, given what has happened in the press in the last 3 months, are actually at a point where gender equality has happened?
The other way.
Well, has even happened, or even near to happening in the next 2 or 3 decades.
Okay, well that is a different subject. It's a very vital subject now, but we're at a crossroads now. Do we want to talk about young people today and how they're labelling or not labelling? Do we want to talk about this question about have women achieved any sort of equality? Is that coming soon? Is that going?
No, not any sort of.
No, but in a way, it's the same point. For instance, I've heard. I listened to a sort of diatribe by somebody who was offended by the use of cis female, because the implication then was that you couldn't simply be female. That was so because of a man wanting to be a woman, which was the point of view, that meant that suddenly I'm not a woman, just a woman, because a man has decided he wants to be a woman.
Okay.
And while I don't necessarily agree with that, I can see the logic of that. And so the sense of female equality and those sort of issues, again, it's by sort of bracketing and labelling that as a thing. There's a tendency to think it's in progress as opposed to the reality of it. This is what I mean about. So not only is it your role, your function, your what you identify with is being labelled. It's also overall cultural things, which often results in inactivity.
Right. Okay. So we think we're moving forward, but actually we're just defining it a bit more, but we're not actually solving the problem. Nat is saying, how can we say that men and women have got equality when we look at what's happened in the last few months? Have you got a particular incident in mind, just to give it a bit more colour?
Gender pay gap.
Just the BBC and the gender pay gap. What do people think? Come sit down, come get involved in this.
There are no women.
Sit down and then speak, because that makes it easier for me. What's your name?
Mary.
Mary, that's
there
right.
There are no women in Herefordshire Council doing active decision-making roles. It's all men.
Right. Okay. So it's all men. Okay.
And there's a meeting on the 13th of October if any of you women are interested.
Okay.
I can't remember what
about
time.
If men are interested? Are they invited to this meeting?
I don't know. It's only gone round to women, as far as I know. It's about the effects of austerity and such like on women, and all the other things that we need to be addressed by people in power. And they've got all the 3 candidates except Jesse Norman, but they're going to present something to him the following week.
Okay, I mean...
So it's the Women's Equality Party.
Okay, I mean, Hereford... Is it Herefordshire Council or Hereford Council? Herefordshire Council, no women there. Have we in Herefordshire achieved any sort of equality? There's a point made by Mary.
There was a BBC study recently which was published, BBC admittedly, but which broke down the country into regions, determined on how easy it was to be a woman, to live, work. And Herefordshire was in the bottom third and performed really atrociously. And yet we're surrounded by counties that were in the top third.
Right.
Shropshire, Worcestershire, Powys, all of them performed well. Herefordshire, bottom third.
Kev, have you got a view on this?
Not particularly. My knowledge of all things local stopped about 20 years ago.
Really?
Except from when Rich complains.
Locally?
No, I just don't live here anymore.
Right.
I escaped.
Where do you live?
I live down south, so I live in Berkshire.
Is it the same in Berkshire? Is there?
Yeah, completely. I mean, it's not quite as polarised.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a few local councillors, those kind of people, and they're all men. And typically, they're all white men in their 60s who, frankly, have taken up being a councillor as a hobby, as opposed to getting anything done. You know.
Okay. So it's not just Herefordshire. We've got a point, and you were talking about decision makers. The decision makers are men. Kev is backing that up with white, older men. What's going on here? Have we really achieved any sort of equality when this is going on? And what's the answer or antidote to this? Is it just that they're the people that make decisions?
Yeah, largely because we live in a patriarchy, and bringing up children isn't paid or valued, and women still earn 70% of what men do over a lifetime, because when women have children, that's the time, traditionally that they would get their first promotion, and even if they go back to work, they'll never catch up.
Yeah.
It's not that you're paid different amounts, men and women, in an office. It's because women that have children, and it was on Radio 4 today. No, it's because they never catch up. Once they have children, and that's.
What about the thing about decision makers? Where do you stand on that? That Mary brought up that.
Well, it's true what she said.
Okay, so it's just true.
They're not antiquated old fossils, aren't they, on the council?
Is that about family, or is that about something else?
They're connected, aren't they? The patriarchal society doesn't value women.
Yeah.
Huh? Woman leading us.
Okay. Any views on this? Do you think we live in a patriarchal society? Okay, well, come and sit down. Come and talk about it. It's just true. Is there anything that we sitting in this small room, in the Koffie Pot in Hereford, can do about it? Is it something we just accept? You're doing a meeting. You're going to a meeting, but I mean, is that enough? Are we doing enough about it? Is there anything we can do about it in Hereford?
There's loads. I mean, I work nationally in schools, universities, apprenticeships, the whole piece about actually educating, providing role models, providing access to technology, which is the profession I work in. So there is loads we can do, but it has to also be dealt with by government and by big business. It can't be about individuals.
What should government and big business be doing?
A big part of what curriculum, actually access to our industry. People don't actually know about access to my industry, which is technology.
Right.
For women, there's hardly any women working in technology, and certainly in program roles. Right. So actually proper access to through promoting our industry, through skills, through curriculum, the whole thing. The fact is, it's pretty shambolic all the way through education, and government are preoccupied with other things like Brexit, which means they're not getting on top of things that will make our education, our country competitive. So,
okay.
Small.
We're talking about the patriarchy here. Do people feel like dismantling the patriarchy? How to do it? It's the question. More women in technology, says Nat. Any other ideas, suggestions?
I don't agree that we can't do anything individually. although I agreed with everything else that you said.
What do you think we can do individually?
I think we can challenge sexism when we see it, and
give us an example of everyday sexism that we could challenge.
Well, I find myself doing it, and we've grown up in this sex. My granddaughter, when I see my granddaughter, I always comment on what she's wearing. I don't do that with my grandson. You know, it's just, you know, and I noticed myself doing it, and I thought, you know, no wonder my daughter's grown up obsessed with what she looks like, because I wanted to boost her confidence. I always told her how nice she looked. Yeah. But now she's got to look nice 24/7.
Okay. That's it. I mean, it's a tricky one though, isn't it? Because as you say, you thought you were boosting her confidence.
We're all caught up in it. We're all caught up in it. It's really difficult to challenge, and but it's a bloody sight better now than it was for my mother and my grandmother.
But from what I've heard today, it feels like we've still got a way to go.
Yeah, we've got a long way to go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
As a father of 2 girls.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. Young girls.
Yeah.
I think about this a lot.
Yeah.
And my main issue comes down to me not wanting anyone to tell my daughters that they can't do something.
Right.
In the end.
Yeah.
I also do think that the fight isn't actually challenging, from personally the way I see it, isn't challenging the everyday stereotypes so much, because they're ingrained. We all start communicating this to babies from the moment they're born, unconsciously. That will not change systemically for a very, very, very long time. But yes, but what we can do is, and I think actually the labelling I was talking about earlier is part of the problem, is we can stop trying to tell people they are a certain thing, or they have to be a certain thing, or they can't do certain things. Because I'm like, well, if you work hard and you find something you love to do, and you have talent in that area, then you can do it. And don't let anyone, and then I find myself saying, especially a man, tell you can't.
Okay, so... Yeah, Mia?
I'd like to say thank you to Rich. What I'd like to say is things will not change for women until the patriarchal society in which we live, the culture changes. It comes from men.
What is the patriarchal society?
If you allow women to show their strength and nurture a woman, you will have a much better society. A nurtured woman looks after her children, she looks after her man, and she looks after the parents of that family. She should be at the front, and she should be foremost in the minds of the men in their lives, whether it's their sons, their brothers, their husbands, fathers, or whatever. It's the woman that should be at the centre of our society, and it's about time our patriarchal society woke up to that.
Okay, disagree, yeah?
Yeah, I think...
What's your name, by the way?
I'm Jim.
Jim, welcome.
Thank you. I think that when we look at a woman and say we need to respect the nurturing that they do and that sort of thing, that's great, but isn't that just feeding into the stereotype already? We're talking about them being great mothers and being great, looking after their man and looking after their children and...
Yeah. You think that's too much kind of projecting that expectation that Rich is talking about, that we're actually defining their role in a way?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, your point's been missed, Mia,
but I mean, I do. My wife goes to work and I stay at home at the moment, and I'm cooking her dinners, and I'm doing a good job of nurturing her. So,
you're a good
that's not a gender thing.
Yeah. Okay. So in a way, would you reframe it as support for those who nurture? Be they male, female, cis, trans?
Yeah, I don't...
Final thought, Mary. Give me a final thought before you go. Sorry, Jim.
Final thought?
Yeah.
We need more equality in the roles that we're allowed to do. Men in schools, men in primary schools.
Yeah, more men in primary schools.
Yeah, and more women in secondary schools and in technology. Yeah.
Okay, so it's about mixing up a little bit, maybe. You're going to come and have a seat.
How's your energy levels going?
Yeah, no, I'm good. All I'm doing is passing the mic around anyway. You're coming up with the ideas.
Oh, did I do that myself?
Possibly. No, that's So we're talking at the moment. We're talking about how to move on, how to dismantle the patriarchy. It's going to take a long time, says Rich. Is it about supporting those who nurture? Kev, have you got a final thought?
So I guess the only thing actually I'd add, the only thing I'm qualified to talk about really. So I'm a hiring manager in a technology company. We're about as bleeding edge as it's possible to get with modern software.
Yeah.
We would love more women in the company. We've got like 10 out of 130. We would, people talk about positive discrimination.
Yeah.
We get a woman's CV in, we'll interview you.
You get excited, yeah.
Yeah, because we'll just take the chance that they're not a complete crackpot.
Yeah.
And whereas you take a guy's CV in, we go through it with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
Because we're desperate to try and balance the company. We just can't.
Yeah.
Even if we desperately wanted to, it doesn't exist.
Right. I mean, what is the way to make it exist, do you think?
So the problem is that, when you look back at the education system...
Sit down making this point because you're
sorry.
not... Cause you're
I'm messing stuff up. I was trying to go to the bar.
Yeah, no, but make the point and go to the bar. Yeah, go on.
Too much feedback.
Yeah, go.
So the problem really comes that, when I look back at, my college years, which is 20 years ago now, and I look back at the IT course that I did, it was all guys.
Yeah.
Which means now, 20 years later, when you're looking at the senior people in that industry, there's no women.
Right.
Now, it is different, and certainly, I'm like Rich, I've got 2 girls.
Yeah.
And you can guarantee before they get to school, they're going to know how to code.
Right.
But that's because of the industry that I'm in.
Yeah.
But that's not a universal truth.
Yeah.
Far too much of it, here's your dolly and it's going to be pink.
Yeah.
Now, I'm taking the approach and causing friction to say, actually, I'm not happy with that. But that's not a universal truth. And until you have equality of education and equality of opportunity when they're young, you won't see it later on. It's just not going to happen.
So you've got to start at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, thanks, Kev.
No worries.